What's going on, traders? Who's ready to get back into the hot seat? Of course, live trading action about to begin. Don't go anywhere. And first things first, let us know what stocks on your radar. Yesterday, we had these oil stocks just ripping. I hope someone was able to catch that move. We caught the move in MRO. So let's find out what happens today in the live trading action right here on Benzinga.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Those words have been dancing around my head all night. Oh, it's Vegas lore, that phrase.
Good morning indeed. It's time to start the day and get into the trading action. Time to pull the Johnny Manziel. What's Johnny up to nowadays? He should become a trader and come on over here to Benzinga. But let's bring on Ryan Faloona. What's going on? How are we doing out there?
We're doing great, man. That would be something.
Yeah, right?
Johnny Manziel trading, that would be something.
Hey, right? He should get his own little trading channel and be like, yo, money. I'll tell you one thing. I'd tune in at least just to
for sure. Are you kidding? Oh, for sure I would. And I would like and subscribe.
Yeah, like always, guys. And if you guys want to join the action, feel free. Hit that button down below. Let's continue getting into the market action today. Of course, wouldn't you know it, we're still in kind of the bear market rally mode, and it's tough. I'll be honest. At this point, what you get is a lot of people starting to be like, oh, no, this is the bottom. We're never going back down. Well, the truth is that no one's going to know. And I think the only time that you could actually tell me that we're back into a bullish market is two things. Either the Fed has truly flipped, and that would be what? Inflation coming down, right? Or we get over the 200-day moving average. This is where we rejected from that 430 breakout, right? And so the 200-day is actually moving down. That's a good thing because it moves closer to the price action, leaves us more room to get back above that 200-day moving average. That's actually all the way up, though, towards 418. Will we get there in this year? I don't think so. I think the 200 days is going to slowly move its way down till eventually maybe working its way towards around 400. And then eventually we can get through that 400 mark, causing what? The outlook for a new bull market. So until that happens, I'm not going to be calling the bottom or until the Fed actually pivots. But can we keep rallying today? The answer to me would be yes. We could definitely keep rallying up there towards the 385s. Seems to make sense for a 50% retracement coming back into play. Somewhere towards the 385 is what I could see. So pay attention to the move that's important today, which is a move back into the 378 and actually closing up there. There's a lot of hourly resistance that you're seeing clearly up there. We'll see what happens today. Does it get that next drive through the 378? But I'll go to Ryan. I know that he probably has some more macro catalysts, and I got a lot to talk about catalysts today. There's a lot of stock news out today. Normally, sometimes we have days where there's very little. Today, we have too much. So we can definitely talk about it as we go through into the open. So what are you looking at, my friend?
Well, the first thing that I wanted to cover there is with SPY. I think that your assessment is pretty spot on. I think the one thing that traders should be aware of is that it's possible that we've seen the lows for this year, but may revisit and maybe even break those lows next year, depending on how the rest of this year goes. Obviously we've talked a little bit about the SPY performance after midterm years. We get the midterms next month. It's about a month away at this point. So I think the stat, I don't have the stat in front of me, so I might be getting it slightly wrong, but I think basically it was 16 out of the last 19. The S&P has outperformed. So if we get that same type of behavior, perhaps we will get a continued rally or not necessarily a sell-off at the latter half of this year, but we'll have to wait and see. As far as your area goes, you said 385, right? Area.
Yeah, eventually getting up there towards 385.
The top. Okay, so the spot that I have is about 382 to 383. So if it does test that spot, and even if it overshoots it a little bit, which is totally possible, then perhaps that 385 is your top out spot. Now, as far as you were saying about like, macro catalysts, this is all about the Fed, right? So when we're sure the Fed is done, I think that you're going to see some positive reaction out of stocks, and particularly the small caps. I think the small caps may lead. Remember, the IWM has been in a bear market for longer than the SPY. So that is definitely going to be something to watch. We had Eric Johnston from Cantor the other day said that the rate hikes are going to be done by December. If that's true and the market sniffs that out, there is a potential for a rally in there. We did hit the 360 mark that I had been calling for. I would have expected a little bit more of a breakdown. And remember, the pre-COVID high was right around 340. We were only 18 points in the SPY away from that. So we're going to keep watching. We're going to keep adjusting based on what we see here. But this bear rally looks like it could go for a little bit. Now, we did get a print here this morning. Let me go ahead and cover that real quick. We did get the initial jobless claims, 219 versus a 203 estimate. Looks like the market traded up briefly on that. It's come back in to where it was prior to that print. So we'll have to wait and see how it reacts when the market opens today. Now, as far as some of the small caps, there are going to be some opportunities today. For first one that we're going to see here is going to be CCNC. Now, again, this is one of those stocks that is under $1. I'm probably going to skip this. But if you recall from earlier this week, we had one of our chatters here nail one of these. I believe it was yesterday, right? CRNK, one of those cheap stocks that ended up going 100% plus. So it's at least worth to know what's moving here. This one's up 120% already. So just be careful. But if you want to trade some of these cheapies and you want to keep an eye on them, you got a couple of them here. CCNC, and then you also have STAB, which is up today. Now, STAB this just kind of looks like it feels heavy. So we'll see where we go from there. First one here on the list is going to be GGE. This is Green Giant. This is a fairly thin stock. Okay. We have a float of 25 million shares here. Not ultra low float, but kind of small. We do have a pretty nice range here, 91 cents to $1.55, but I really need to see if the volume is going to be here in order to trade this. So this one I'm not sure about. Definitely need to see it settle. How about Peggy? Right? Peggy, this was our call from yesterday. What an absolute monster. This has been 3 days in a row here where this is in play. I actually had to draw new lines today because we broke out of all of this. We broke over yesterday's high in the pre-market here. Looks like we're trading back up. The current range that we look to be in is between 4 and 435. So I want to see how that range gets handled early here. It's definitely possible that we break below 4, and then we're probably going to be looking at 370s for support here. It's worth noting we got a VWAP here this morning of 367-ish. So we're a long ways up off that VWAP. If you've played some of these as they pull back to the VWAP to try and lower your risk, totally understandable. If that's the way that you're going to approach Peggy today because it's already extended, I totally get it, but that's going to require some patience for you out of the open here. It's also possible that we get a nice little push up and a yank. So waiting for these stocks to settle might be the best in terms of making the trade a little bit easier. KRBP and RevB, these are also some penny stocks that are up today. So again, if this is your thing, watch these. They're already making some pretty big moves. And Beat back on the list here. Remember, Beat has been, as of recently, Beat has absolutely been in play for us on multiple days. And it looks like we're pushing here again today. So I had a range here before we started talking of 635 to 568. Looks like Beat broke out of that a little bit up to 644. This pullback that we're seeing right here, right now, this would be expected after a high day break. Let's see where this settles to, and let's see what the volume looks like. Definitely looking pretty good here on Beat. We did have a catalyst here. It broadens the product portfolio pipeline with smartwatch connectivity. Enablement for 24/7 heart monitoring. So looks like they're going to go the smartwatch route to be able to track some of those heart data points or heart health data points. So Beat definitely in play. This has been great for us before. This thing does like to pull. You can even see here in the pre-market, we're a little bit volatile. So factor that into your trading plan if you're going to end up trading this one here today. ZVO and RevB, also some more pennies that are up. IMBI had broke one here. It's still flirting with that $1 level. We are leaking a little bit into the open. So the theme from some of these movers here this morning is that we want to wait and see for all of these to settle. I don't want to be chasing stocks that are up 100% or that look like the big momentum move was early in the pre-market and now it's kind of rebalancing or going back to where it was. Next one here is going to be W key. And I saw someone mention this here in the chat earlier. Let me see if I can give you credit. Sal, we did look at beat. Looks like Sal's on beat here this morning. Hertz Scrambler mentioned W key earlier. Yes, Wise key. This is a internet security or a cyber security for the Internet of Things. We're definitely flirting with that 2 level here. That's one of the big levels that I'm watching. I have 198 marked because when we pulled back a little bit, we did overshoot that too. We actually shot down to 191. So on a little bit of the extended pullbacks here, looks like we broke a little bit more beneath that. Now, what I'd like to see is I'd like to see this hold above 2, and then I would like to see it cross 212 on volume. I think if we have the volume trigger that we're looking for, we can likely test the 230 pre-market high. It might not go straight there when the market is open, just because there's going to be more traders active in this. It might be more of a grind. And you also might have to deal with some push-ups and some pullbacks on this name. This is what we've seen before, but Wise key definitely in play today. Let's take a look at some of our recent runners and just kind of get an idea of what's going on there. SNTI, of course, had a monster day. We went towards the highs here. We've really pulled back, but we're going to keep watching this one too. I'm going to wait for this to trigger on my relative volume scanner, because remember, that scanner is trying to pick up those volume moves as stocks move to the upside. That's what I want to see here in SNTI. I think it could flush. I think it could pull back, but we want to see if this sets up for us. The other one is going to be ATXI. And this is one that has been great for us. This one, the run might be over. Now, of course, you can keep a lot of these stocks that have moved around for us quite a bit on the back burner. And if they curl, or if they look like they find their footing, we can use some resistance points from the previous session for some near-term points here, or for some near-term key levels, if you will, excuse me. VWAP here, 784, and we're currently at 740. So a push back to the VWAP, if this gets any type of buying momentum after the market opens, is definitely possible. That's what you got for, that's all I got for you today. As Jay Rice is saying in here, we do have 7 Fed speakers today, so perhaps a volatile market, especially in the SPY and some of those bigger caps. Is my screens are fuzzy? Are Mitch's not fuzzy? Is your YouTube quality set to auto? I know it might be a little tough with the zoom level that I'm at. I am at 100% though.
Should still be fine.
Yeah, it looks fine on my end. Numbers might be difficult to see. Let me know if you can make out the chart. That's pretty much the most important thing. Push-ups and pullbacks. And Enver says I don't work out. Shelly, I realized as soon as I said it that it sounded like a workout regimen, but basically stock price pushing up and then pulling back. We work out our brains every day here. That's just how it goes.
I'd be getting them push-ups soon all day long. No, I'm just joking. Growing that belly, baby. Eating too many cookies lately. But that's just the way it is sometimes. I like my sweets. And I also like to work out. So it's a little conflicting battle.
I'm fortunate I don't have a sweet tooth. I like savory foods like pizza. That's my thing.
Pizza too. That's the bad
thing. Not a big sweet tooth.
Right, I like pizza too. That's the bad thing.
Who doesn't like pizza? I mean, come on. One's in the chat right? If you like pizza. Come on.
Yeah, especially those New York slices. I'm not gonna lie, those were so bomb. I need to.
No, I got Lou Malnati's yesterday. So
there you go.
Birthday. So I'm on.
Are you a deep dish guy?
Yeah, I do. I really appreciate a good deep dish.
Hell yeah, I'm with you on that, Ryan. I'm with you. Now, I would say that it's a little bit better than Detroit style, but we ain't going to get into all that.
Well, look, the guys in Detroit, they love to rip me any chance they get. When the Bears falter, if they get, a pizza that's not thin, they love to rip me, but it's okay. They're all wrong, and they're okay with that.
Deep dish, hell yes, is Jonathan Lovelace. Yeah, we like our pizza. Let's get into some stock action there. Ryan gave you some stocks he's going to be watching. Of course, I think it's just going to all depend on the SPY. Let's just be honest. And that's what's been happening. And another thing that's been happening is a lot of washing out and trying to put pressures. I've talked about this multiple times. Pressure on both sides. Pressure on the bulls, pressure on the bears. How do you do that? Well, that's going to be sticking to longer term ranges. So what does that mean? Okay. So that means exactly like what you've been seeing in the SPY, a move from 378 down to below 372, and then all the way back up to 378. Well, that's very hard for a trader to get around, right? That's extreme volatility moving on up. So right now, it seems like the SPY can easily make 6 to 7 point moves. How do we know that? Also, we could take a look at the ATR. The average true range helps us see that. And the average true range is actually at 10.17. So this is where we need to try to really understand that the volatility in the market is causing, at least for day traders, to squeeze out on shorts. And then, of course, the market starts coming back down, and even the bulls get to the point where they get caught because it comes down to a level underneath their support. They're getting stopped out, and then the market's ripping back. This is the algos making money off of us. And so we need to be careful here with this volatility. They can get through that kind of volatility because they have an understanding of how volatile the market is. They usually are going to use some volatile indicators in their algorithm to go ahead and understand that, yeah, the average true range is at $10. So a move, an $8 move in the SPY is not unexpected to them. But to us, it seems unexpected because it's such a big, massive move, especially if you're playing in higher sizing, right? Let's say if you're using higher than even 100 shares, if the stock is making, a 6 point move, or some stocks are making big moves up and down, right? If you take a look at like Apple, and let's go towards the kind of the pricing in Apple and what you've been seeing there, it went from around 146 down to 143. That's 3 whole points. Can you handle that 300 loss at one point to then come back up and potentially make what? On the upside, you're only getting about another $1.21. So you're making about 121. And so I think this is the hard part right now of trying to trade in this time, is understanding the volatility. And I'm just saying that not because you guys can't trade in it, but just to keep it in mind so that you don't get into that point where you're just washed out on a bull trade, washed out on a bear trade. And then you get stuck being the watcher and being the pig, and all of a sudden the moves start going. So it's just how this market has been. And it's probably going to continue being like this until it really comes back into a real nice linear path, and that'd be a new bull market. So just be careful today. I do think that we can continue up, but it's all going to depend on the market. Now, oil names have been really doing well, right? We're going to keep watching those. Can those continue to run? I feel that today they're going to have a little bit of a pullback. Why? It's just been too big of a rally in 3 to 4 days. It's okay to have a healthy pullback. Today, I'll be looking actually to play the opposite of gush. We'll be looking to play drip. This is a bearish outlook for the day. It's only for a short period amount of time that I'm going to try to play this, because I'm still bullish longer term on oil, but I don't mind playing the intraday action here and kind of flipping a little bit. BTU is one that we can keep on watch, right? It's continued the trend. Could pull back a little bit today. So maybe let's take a look at some of the other kind of coal stocks that I've been talking about, CEIX. These can have a little bit of a pullback. We'll see what happens there. Now, another area to watch that I think is a better bullish area to watch today is ones that have been lagging. So if we take a look like at a lithium stocks haven't really had that big push in the last 3 days. They actually pulled back in the last 3 days. So I'm going to see if lithium can join in on the party today. That's like LAC, LTHM, PLL, all stocks that I think that could make a little bit of a move up, especially since they've gone sideways in this recent trend. If the SPY can continue up, maybe these will be the stocks that join the party now. So keep that on watch. I also saw in the chat, just to give you guys a little bit of a shout out there, I saw someone mention about Duke and how it's been in a downtrend for a little while now. It could find a little bit of a bounce. That was from Nando Real. Shout out to you. I don't think that's a bad outlook. And it's not because, I think that Duke is just going to go back towards, let's say, 110 immediately, but they have been getting sold off. And that's the XLU. You guys can take a look at the utilities, right? And see how this has been kind of in a channel for a very long time. Last time when we broke down here, we got a little bit of a bounce, a down move, and then a quick rip back up into the channel. Let's see what happens now. Do we take out the lows here and come back down closer towards the 6650s? Or are we going to come back towards the 69 and get back to 70? If it does that, it's back in the channel, and we could see them slowly start laddering back up. So keep your eyes on the XLU to give you some kind of outlook on what's going on also with a Duke Energy. And just to give you some other names to keep in mind, NEE is one that I like, XEL, Excel Energy, POR is one that you guys can keep watch. There's a lot of these names. Dominion Energy, another one that could bounce back. A lot of outlook on those utilities that they've been selling off, but we'll see if they get a little bounce. All right, now to catch up from stocks from you guys out there. Where is gold?
Here, I got two real quick, Mitch, that came from the chat. First one is going to be CSCW. Let me put my screen up here. So CSCW reverse split recently, hasn't traded quite 1 million shares yet, but looks like it may curl. So we'll keep this one on the back burner. Then the other one that was brought up by the chat here, Stephen and Jay Wild, you're on MOTS. MOTS, this is running. And the reason this wasn't detected by my movers tool here is I have a filter for volume on this, and it's not quite at 1 million shares. I think if we go to the daily here, we take a look, volume 789,000 shares traded. So that's why it didn't appear here, but it does look like this is setting up too. MOTS, super low float, right? 2 million shares in the float. Okay, just under 3 million shares in the float. So this one, a pretty low float. Looks like we're right back up to where we were on October 3rd, which was Monday, right? Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. So it'll be interesting to see. We definitely seem to have some resistance here at 237, but we want to watch this out of the open as well. So 2 more added. Keith, if you have a question about Pro, can I email you directly? Yes, absolutely. Go ahead and send me an email. Let me go ahead and toss my email in the chat. Market is open. Good luck, folks.
All right, Nature Valley, you're going to have to wait. The market's open. It's time to make some money. Gary, I actually like LNG, UNG, some Boyle today. I actually like those names. We'll see what happens. Boyle on up, man. Let's see what happens.
So no big move here on Wise Key out of the open. CNC, that penny stock trying to trade up here. Let's check in on Peggy. Peggy still holding right here, so no big moves yet. Here goes Peggy. Right as I said that. 435 seems to be the spot. We'll see if Peggy can take that out here to the upside.
Tackled streaker guy filing a lawsuit. Man, do you really want to be that guy that everybody talks to and then finds out that you were that guy and then just makes fun of you?
I wouldn't want to be that person, honestly.
I'll tell you right now, if I was his friend, I'd definitely be making fun of him.
Just cash Tesla. Nice job, Easy Mike. Tesla, big spike out of the open here.
Square, big spike out the open. That's
Apple
a good outlook too.
Yep.
I actually like that square chart. That really looks nice here. I'm just looking for a pullback here. You can get a pullback to 62. I'll take a shot on square. The thing about Square, though, is just to keep it in mind is there's about a 10 or 20 cent spread. I don't like those for $62 price. It's a little bit too much for me. Maybe we can look at PayPal sympathy move. PayPal is setting up also a nice little daily chart. Can start pushing. You can see here on the trend line here for PayPal. I'll try to put my charts up. There it is. My chart is up. So PayPal, let's see if it gets to the 95 today. Good outlook there.
Peggy pulled back to its VWAP here. We're hanging out right at VWAP. First move here was a breakdown on Peggy. CSCW, one of the other stocks that I'm kind of watching here, needs volume. Doesn't have enough of it yet, but it's above 2 here. It was all the way up at 243 earlier in the pre-market. So definitely a nice range here. CSCW might look like it's going. Peggy kind of breaking down here below its VWAP and continuing to break down.
Oil pushing right out the gates. Just He gave that outlook.
Wise key up to those highs. That pre-market high was 230. We got as high as 227 on this recent push. So CSCW, here we go on CSCW. Actually, might take a little bit of this CSCW here. Stop at VWAP, maybe a little bit below VWAP. Let's call it 199. I'm actually going to put my stop out in case I change tickers as well, so I don't get trapped. So CSCW. See if we can push above here. First spot that I'd like to clear is 214. I think if we do that, we might be able to run up towards this high here. Currently at 212. Let's see if we can take out 214 here, CSCW. Come on.
Continuing up to 376. Went up towards 376.91. Let's see what happens today. Definitely a little bit of a bounce there. Oxy, big push, man. Missed that VWAP bounce on Oxy.
And absolutely stopped out. So this is the risk of taking some of these. As soon as that thing broke beneath VWAP, stopped, and actually it's back here. Yeah, I'm going to try a little bit more, I think. Ooh. Oh, come on. Don't stop me out again. Let's actually push this time. 214, big seller there at 214. I think if this pops, we're good. Rebuy here was exactly at 2, which sucks because I was stopped out at 199 and then I rebought it too. But let's see if we get going here.
PayPal pulling back a little bit. Keeping my eyes on the SPY today.
Stop right at break even here at 199 if this doesn't move.
I like the PayPal chart, but it's not pulling back enough for me here. It keeps on going. So I'm not going to jump in at the high there. Like PayPal and Square to begin the day, but if it doesn't pull the VWAP, it doesn't follow my strategy there. So leaving it alone right now. See if we get the pullback or not. If you guys have anything that is out there, please let us know. If you guys find anything. Made a small money on Oxy. Should have held a bit longer. Hey. It happens, Louis.
Dark Matter and Battle Rap saying my stop was too tight. Yes, that's actually been one of the themes, which is one of the reasons why I rebought it, because I'm always saying how you can rebuy things here. But stop's definitely too tight. Working on that in this environment, it is a little bit difficult. Here we go.
Call out
coming
Lisa
back up
Lee,
to 214.
Frey, F-R-E-Y. Nice rip there. Definitely a good outlook there. Battery play too. It's actually a really nice looking push there.
There goes 214. All right, I'm going to close CSCW here. So that was one loss on having the stops too tight and then one win to get it back. So I feel pretty good here. This one, there's probably going to be another setup here. I didn't wait for the move to 243 just because I wanted to lock in some of those gains from my mistake from having my stop too tight early on. I will wait for this to set up, though. I don't think this is done. And if this volume continues to get bigger, this is probably going to be the best play of the day.
Big rip on LAC. LAC was one of the stocks I gave you guys this morning. Already ripping here. It's up about 3.85%, almost 4% out the gates there. Didn't give me the pullback to the VWAP yet. I'll try to look for it. But definitely a good day here starting on lithium. TSLA also pushing up. Another stock I gave you guys in lithium. LTHM. They're all pushing right now. And I'm going to look for some pullbacks to VWAP. A lot of stocks pushing out the gates. I need a pullback to VWAP to get in. I can't get in on just the highs.
Speaking of pullback to VWAP, Beat pulled back to VWAP. We have the VWAP here at 626.5. Looks like this last candle here on Beat pulled back to, let me get that low there, 630. So we were only, 4 cents away from that VWAP. I'm not in this just because I was a little late to it. There is your break below VWAP. So we want to wait. Here we go. We want 6 to hold here. If 6 can hold here, we might be able to play this for a quick bounce. CSCW, by the way, holding up here at 219. My exit there was at 217.
Yeah, I think this gapped a little bit too far, and Beat, it just doesn't make sense for it to have gapped that far. It was just trading at 459. It's made a move up there to 688. And if you look to the left, the only thing you had was like the IPO at 547. I feel like this is it's gone a little bit too far. It looks overextended to me. Still no pullback on PayPal towards the VWAP. I can't, just jump on in trying to get it here. I could try to get it off that 93.82s, but I kind of respect my rules. My strategy is down towards the VWAP where the bounces. Right now is not the time for me. And that beat just seems to me like it's just a little bit too gappy.
Yeah, you know what, Mitch, it's doing an all right job hanging out here at the VWAP, but unlike the last trade, I don't want to just take any here because I think that since this is extended, we're a little bit more likely to have a pullback here. Just as I'm saying that, it starts to push away from the VWAP. So if you guys are long, let me just speak conservatively about it. That way it can move in the direction that you're trading. Beat definitely a little wild here. Cscw did break above that 623. We went as high as 223. We went as high as 228. A lot of volume there at the 220 level. There's a bid under it now. Energy
trying to continue. It's already made the gap that it had gap down there. So oil ripping, man, ripping. That's not a good sign for inflation. All these people that think that inflation is going away or that the Fed is going to pivot.
Well,
I don't know what they're smoking, man.
We're going to get another inflation print next week. And I think that that's going to tell us it's going to give us some hard data. And I think that, we'll be able to make assumptions on what the Fed's doing based off that data.
Yeah. The big thing also, though, is that you're starting to see inflation kick right now. And so this isn't going to show up until a couple months down the line.
Yeah.
And so that's how it is also in this. I think this is the main thing that we got to also keep in mind is that inflation doesn't just peak and then go away unless you actually resolve the issues of why inflation is here in the first place. ConocoPhillips trying to get back towards that 117 today. Looking to see if UNG can get a little bit of a bounce here off the 2416, multiple third bottom there. So I could risk off of this and try to make a move back up. But I'm going to be patient. I'm going to be looking for it to come actually up in an uptrend. Right now is not the time for me. I'll be waiting. But if on a swing trade style, this is how I like them. I like to take them right around here. Then I'd have to risk down towards the hourly low, which would be a move towards 23.96. And it'd be getting in right around this kind of level right here, 24.15 for a move back up. But I'm going to be waiting.
Mott's here mentioned from the chat earlier for a couple of our chatters. We are at the highs here. We did take out that high that we made at the end of the pre-market here of 238. Went as high as 253. I'm not in this. Definitely watching this. Remember, this one a little bit low floater here. Catalyst, the shares are trading higher if the company was granted a U.S. patent titled Cleaning Method for Prepless Colonoscopy. So, yeah, there you go. Big pull here in CSCW. If I was a little bit quicker to that, probably could have played that pullback for a little bit of a bounce, but not fast enough to hit that. Looks like our Bitcoin stocks are up. Bitcoin's strong right now, too. Mara at highs here. Looks like I'm seeing some BTU call sweeps. Jay Rice, you still on BTU? You normally give us the BTU breakdown every single day. I might have just missed it today. Yeah, BTU, nice red to green. My longer term target is much higher. There we go. Still long and strong, it sounds like. So look at CSCW. So this is one of the things that when I say, watch stocks and watch how they trade, this is one of the things that I'm looking for. When you see look at these two red candles here. This is the 1 minute chart. We have two red candles since the market opened, and they're both pullbacks, right? So they're both resetting this little staircase move up here. And you'll notice that on this pullback, we did break through the VWAP. This is part of so someone told me earlier that my stops were too tight. They're not wrong. They're absolutely right. This is one of the dynamics that's flushing me out here. When you get these stocks, they pull back to the VWAP. They actually pulled beneath the VWAP and stop hunted. Now, in that same candle, it returned right to the VWAP, and look what it did in the next candle. It pushed away from that. So this is part of the process of observing how these stocks are going to trade. And if you notice that this is a common pattern amongst the stock, then you're probably better off buying some of these pullbacks within reason. Identify where those support levels are. Put your order out. We see Rip and DT do this all the time. Says he's got a level that he's looking for. The buy level is normally not much higher than the stop, and he has a pretty good feel for that. Cscw, another bit of a pullback here, but again, even in that bounce trade, I mean, you could have got quite a bit in. Let's say you bought it at 202. I mean, that's still 13 cents in a minute. We're on a bounce back there. So this is some of the dynamic we're going to try and trade on some of these smaller names.
Not getting a pullback in any of the stocks that I talked about this morning. They all made rips, but with no pullbacks, I can't take them. You got to follow the rules. So it's looking like a no trade day for me right now until at least something changes. But I'll just hang out here. I'm here for you guys because I can't take a trade on these kind of moves. They're just too far from what I was going to get.
Jay, and you are, man. You are, and you're not the only one. There are lots of really helpful people in this chat, and it's what makes our community so great. I know I sound like a broken record, but my God, the community is what makes this so awesome. Jay Wild saying Jewel, JWEL on Momo. This is getting a push here. We did have that volume. Let me throw this. There you go. Thank you, Mitch. We did have, this is the volume expansion that we're talking about, right? Started right on the pull beneath VWAP, pushed away from VWAP. Looks like we're coming back in. Good Momo name here. This obviously I'm late to be watching a setup here at 336 and be looking to play in between the VWAP here and the high of day, especially if it can break high of day. Peloton at the highs. Didn't we get a news article about them? Yeah, 500 global team members whose positions are being eliminated. Okay, so trying to clean up expenses there, it looks like.
There's a bigger report I think that's more important to focus, but we don't have it because it's from Wall Street Journal. It's an exclusive from the CEO. He said that Peloton has 6 months to show it can survive as a standalone company. That's from the CEO, Barry McCarthy.
Ruh-roh.
So they gave you we're cutting cost, but we might disappear in 6 months.
Let's check in on some of these. Mott's at highs. W key holding right above the VWAP here. Looks like it's really obeying that VWAP.
Kevin just,
what do you know?
Good Lord. Somebody should just end that guy. Meet Kevin Fubo to 100X. Come on. Oh my God. I don't know how even people watch that guy, but hey, to each his own, I guess.
Jay Rice with some more helpful knowledge here. I completely agree with this. SMH was the first group to roll over this year. He's talking about the semis. Should be the first group to lead if we want higher. I would agree with that. I think the names that were really beaten down, especially the quality names in which those semiconductors are, they should lead. They should be the first ones to get bought and should have probably one of the better moves if we do end up reversing here. So SMH, good to watch. Maybe we should start checking in on that, Jay, on a regular basis.
This is tough here. The market already kind of making that 375 to 378. We talked about this 378, how it's so important to get through. Now it's starting to top out there. So you could get a little bit of a pullback here. Doesn't mean it's going to top out for the day. I don't think so, but I think you are getting a little bit of slowdown action here. I'll look to try to take a shot towards the upside because that's just what it seems like. But we could get a move right back down to the lower support. So just be careful out there, team.
Compass Inc. COMP. This is at the highs. I actually like this minute formation if it can take out 310. Currently at 306. That's COMP. Needs some more volume here. A little light on the volume, but a nice little formation. Let's check in on some of our back burner stocks. SNTI. Okay, so SNTI first move out of the open here is up. We're above VWAP and we're approaching the pre-market high of 512. Yesterday we had the intraday high of 531. That's going to be one of the big spots to watch.
Order out to get some LAC.
530.
Just grab some right there. 28.55s. Willing to add some here below 50s. Risk going down towards 28.25. See if we can get below 50. We just ticked there. Let's see if we get to the 40s.
Cscw looks like it's breaking down here. Looks like it wants to test 2 to the downside. If it does break beneath 2 here again, I want to wait and have it build back above that level before we try it to the long side here. And I'm not necessarily going to buy a pull that breaks below that 2 because we've already had 2 up moves from that level. So I'm not sure if the third time is going to be the same. Blue Eye, what Blue Eye saying Costco's up $10 a share. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I went there and bought a new couch. So that's what I took care of yesterday. And Keith, good spot here on Apple, by the way. Apple running up into that 147.50 resistance area. That was the pre-market, and well, I guess technically that was the after-hour high yesterday, right as the after-hours closed. Sorry, Mitch, I was looking at a different chart. Let me go ahead and pull this up here. This is that level that we're talking about right in here, right? It's pushing up to that resistance. If it breaks above that, giddy up. I think we should be in good shape.
I did see someone wanted, I think it was Sabrina that wanted a sector outlook. Sorry about that. Sabrina was just trying to get an entry here on LAC. I'll add to it, but energy leading, technology, technology also up, basic materials up, and what's in the red, utilities. Utilities still not turning around, so they're still selling off those utilities. Real estate just slightly up there. So we'll see what happens here. I'm going to try to add to LAC on below the 50s. It's just hit like 45 for a second there, but I'm trying to add to this position, get it back above the VWAP, but a lot of that's going to depend on what happens in the SPY. Can we get a push back? I was also looking for PayPal to come to the VWAP. Still hasn't done that one. And I was looking at some lithium here on the left-hand side. Let's look at the SPY to see if the VWAP bounces back through 378, close above the 378.18. That's going to be the bullish move for seeing the continuations back towards the upside.
Send bullish. Ryan moving markets again with the sofa buy. I wish that was the case. The one thing I will say here real quick, Mitch, interrupt me if you have a trade because this is not trade related.
Go for it.
I've never purchased a large item like that from Costco's store. I've purchased it online where they deliver it and things like that. And that goes great, of course, but I've never purchased it online from a store. So it was a new experience for me. I had to rent a truck. I had to get help. Then I had to pick the couch up. I got to say, from start to finish, every person at Home Depot and Costco made this easier for me any chance they could get. The customer service that I received when trying to do this from both stores, not related, was exceptional. And it really made it easier for me to actually make this purchase and get this large bulk item into my house. So shout out to Home Depot and Costco employees. They really shined yesterday.
Square looks interesting there. UNG, we'll see what happens on that. SPY getting that VWAP bounce right now. So LAC can get one little crack through 28.50.
Oh, and so CSCW.
I like the sneeze.
It's okay. I do that all the time. I'm not sure if I should mute, and then I mute and don't sneeze, and it looks weird, or I take myself off. Happens all the time, man. It's fall. Fall's coming here. It's like 50 degrees.
We're feeling it.
So with CSCW here, actually talking to one of my mentors here, you guys might know him, Sandman. just an amazing trader, pretty much where I learned this strategy from. He's worked with me and the Benzinga community ad nauseum to teach this strategy. Said something real interesting about CSCW that I'm going to repeat and credit him for. CSCW has pulled all the way back here, so we're going to see what it's made of. And I really like that, and I think that you might hear me saying that more and more, because when these stocks put in their run and then they get pulled, that's often the litmus test if there's going to be another play. If they pull back and hold and return towards the highs, that's a great sign for some more upside trading. If they break down and they show no weakness and the volume continues to contract, it looks like that move is probably done. There's a really quick way to summarize the recent action here in CSCW. Another reason why I'm trying to take my profits quickly, right? I don't want to sit through any type of pullback like this. We got a volatile market. We've had a volatile market for some time. So just real interesting. Just got that this morning. I really like that. I'll probably reuse that.
Interesting to see the resorts and the casinos up when having a nice little VWAP bounce. This Caesars VWAP bounce looks interesting to me. It just kind of held that low towards 39.10, 39.15, risk for a move back towards 39.66. Looks interesting there. It's already making the move. So sorry about that, guys. Was a second too late. Las Vegas Sands also setting up a nice little move as we're seeing that be really strong sector today. MGM lagging a little bit here, so that's not a bad one. Could look for a 34.10 move. And wouldn't you know it, it's already kind of getting that. Everyone I go to is kind of more of the laggard and just about to make the move. But these casinos having a really good day today. Consumer said they go up about 0.75, so not a bad day there. LAC is not going bad for me. I'm just looking for a nice little push here now as it's starting to hold above the VWAP. Let's see what happens in the overall market.
Real quick, while you were saying SNTI
nice
here, we did break through that 530 level that we outlined not 3 minutes ago. So SNTI looks like this is moving here. We are at the highs. It's not halted. But we did break through that 530. Here we go, 560. We continue to push up here on SNTI. This has given us a number of different trading opportunities here. Been real great. So there's 569 now. That is going to be your day high. And real quick, CSCW, we just talked about that, talked about seeing what it's made of. Well, it's breaking down, right? It tried to hold that 2 level, broke down again. I'm going to wait for this to set up to the upside. I think I'm not going to try buying dips on this name anymore here today. At this point, I want to watch SNTI and see where this settles and sets up. This run would have been a great move. Frankly, through 530 would have worked, but even on this 1 minute formation through 507 would have been a good buy. Here we are. We're going for 6 here on SNTI.
All right, just added there on LAC. I tried to throw it up in the chat for you guys. SPY made a quick move to 378.18, and wouldn't you know it, it stops right there to the key, 378.17. Sorry, a penny off.
SNTI halted.
But definitely keep watch on the SPY. It's battling that 378 area. We talked about that. Will we actually get through there on the upside? That's what we need to see to get that nice little push. Every time it's rejecting it, that is not the sign that we can see. And we could see a little push back down towards the support. Wanted to really keep hold VWAP, because if not, these trades are going to just start flipping back down to the bottom of the range. And we've been talking about it, the pressure on the bulls and the bears. Don't want to see that game played again today, because we're going to end up getting stopped out while the bulls get washed out. And a lot of times what happens? Market comes back after that.
And real quick, Mott's called from our chat here today. Oops, sorry, Mitch. Thank you. Mott's from our chat called here this morning, broke through that 238. We are currently at highs. Mott's, this is a lower floater, but this trade has been working here. This at highs here. Good call on Mott's. Great spot there. I think that was Jay Wild and someone else. I can't remember your name. I'm sorry. I'm trying to give you credit.
All right, going to take a swing trade here, guys. I haven't done a swing trade in a little while, so I'm going to take a swing trade risking on UNG. Just got an entry there at 24.19. Talked about this bottoming action around the 24.15, 24.10 level. We're going to do a small risk here towards 23.95s and look for a swing trade on UNG going back to 26. So it won't be a bad outlook there on risk to return. Let's see what happens if we can close the day in the green. Swing trade on UNG. LAC is still that kind of more day trade action, but we'll see what happens there. UNG taking my shot.
All right.
And wouldn't you know it, SPY trying to test that VWAP. Be careful, team. We're starting to get the flip.
SPY's looked a little choppy here this morning. We had that nice push out of the open, and we've had alternating candles. Looks a little choppy. Something that was said here by our chat that I definitely want to reiterate. The postman says it helps if you give out positive vibes to the sales staff. I totally can reiterate this. As someone that works in support, be nice to the sales and support people. They're just trying to help you. They're just trying to do a job. They might not have all of the information right away, but they'll try and get it for you. Keith agrees. Always true. Always treat people that are helping you with respect.
So you're not allowed to just jump the wall and beat the crap out of them because they didn't get you your McChicken?
Fighting is never the answer. Definitely try to exhaust your other opportunities first.
Man, this market, guys, it's frustrating, guys. It's frustrating. This LAC one, I'm about to cut it right now, but it just goes to show us exactly what I've been talking about. Look at this.
Did we get
the washing out of both sides? It's just hard to hold on these moves now. When the SPY does these little kind of moves up, moves down to the bottom of the range, it's just hard to stay in it. And it's not that I go in with the biggest size either. So I can imagine if you had bigger size, right? If you had bigger size, your eyes are going to definitely be like, oh, crap. The unrealized is definitely moving fast. And it just goes to show me that this market is so trappy. So trappy, team.
And I'm reviewing some of the headlines that we have here. So looking at Benzinga Pro, I can see they have a whole bunch of Kashkari's quotes here. Kashkari says we have more work to do on inflation. We still have to bring inflation down. I hope we can do so without causing a recession. So he's basically saying there that inflation is still going to be the number one target. And while he hopes they can do it without a recession, they're still going to do it. I already think the recession is here. If we get help from supply side, I'm more optimistic about avoiding a recession. Goes on to say, I'm not comfortable saying we are going to pause until we see evidence the underlying inflation is cooling. This is going to put some more importance on those inflation data points that we get. We get another one next week. We're quite a ways from a pause, he said. And so that was at what, 9:30? When did we get that reversal? That was right at the open here. So not expecting the Inflation Reduction Act will provide a reduction in inflation in next year or two. Okay, interesting name for it then. It goes on to say big banks need more capital. Banks are struggling here this morning. And then it says we need to stay on course for balance sheet shrinking, and says that the market has already priced that in. So we'll see if that's true.
All right, guys, I'm going to hold to that last low, 28.35. SPY just starting to wipe out here. It doesn't mean that it's going to break completely, but we could make a move back down to those 372s, right? And so I don't want to be in
SNT. Sorry to interrupt, Mitch. SNTI open and spiked to 638, currently at 612 here. This halt, if you were in it, if I was in it, I would have definitely trimmed out of the halt. Move above 6 here. SNTI getting some really crazy volume. I don't want to chase this candle, especially if there's a possibility of another halt. But this is why I said keep it on the back burner. This one might not be done. And sure enough, we're getting a move here today.
And there goes my position for LAC.
Agree, Jay. Totally agree.
Took a hit there, guys, on LAC today. Even though really nice chart, I was waiting for the pullback. When was I going to get the pullback? And you guys heard me. As soon as I started seeing the SPY turn around, as soon as I get my LAC pullback to VWAP, I'm just like, God dang it, come on. Like, the perfect timing, right when the SPY wants to top out, LAC wants to pull back. That's what you get. Now you're getting the washout of the bulls. And then guess what? On that first spike, you probably washed out some bears that were looking to short things.
Probably.
And so it continues, guys, the just pure manipulation of the markets to wash out retail. And there you see it. There's the SPY taking that next leg down, breaking through the low on the day. And the intraday action, and now pow. The only thing that at least helping me at least is my swing trade UNG ain't looking too bad, but yeah, this is this type of market, guys. Watch out with the oil markets too, because I have a feeling, they did a nice little push up here, might not hold the pullbacks after that nice little push. I'm not going to try to trade these short now because they had a good opening, but definitely starting to see a turnaround on those stocks also. Keep your eyes on Apple. Look how quickly Apple's coming down. If it cracks down, that could be the bad stock that would really kind of continue a downside action. But we're still far away from that. That'd be around 144s. A crack of 144 on the downside would be horrible for Apple today.
Booglog, where's Zunaid? As we said multiple times this week, Zunaid took the week off. He will be back, though. Do not despair.
Yeah, he's out there somewhere on some island thinking about us, but looking at the sun and hearing the beach waves hit. Good times, Zunaid. You enjoy it out there.
Man, Mitch, that's you really painted a nice picture there for us.
Right? I was already imagining it too. I see the ocean coming on in, the sun setting.
Mitch is trying to transport himself to some beach.
Yeah, I actually, believe it or not, Ryan, I'm going to take next Friday off. So I will let you guys know that right now. I'm going to take next Friday off. I'm going to look to try to make it out to the beach. It's going to be dependent on the weather, but I need a beach day.
Mitch, I love that you're telling the group that you're taking a day off on a day that we don't have a show. So that is, I can appreciate that. Good schedule.
Yeah, not gonna do you guys wrong and just pop up a middle of the day Wednesday, getting out of here. Nah, I'll make it to Friday where we normally don't have too much of our content. Make
next,
it a little less.
Since we're discussing schedules, next week I am traveling to the office. So on Wednesday morning, I will not be on the show. I've actually already checked with Zunaid, and he will be back by Wednesday for sure to help you out there, Mitch. But I will be traveling, and then I'll be live for the show from the HQ on Thursday.
I don't think they liked me. I kind of requested to go to the headquarters. They said, "No, Mitch, we're not getting back to you."
Well, one of the things that I will say, is that there's a lot of people trying to travel for those, so I would be more proactive.
I got a battle for it.
Okay.
Spy coming down there and then doing a little wick down there now, and you guys are seeh Apple come down too. And this is the hard part. So a lot of times, what do I try to trade? I try to trade these VWAP like bounces and fades, right? You guys see me all the time trade off the VWAP. A lot of that is what? So it's a good measured pullback, right? And so what we're seeing now is more of these range pullbacks. Top of the range to the bottom of the range. So what's going to work better in this environment is more reversal style strategies. So reversing from the support, playing it upwards, or shorting at the resistance, playing it downwards. Those are very hard strategies. Let me be honest. It's not what you can always do. So, pay attention to what you're seeing out there. Are your patterns truly holding? I'm not seeing patterns hold. Even if it's a flag pattern, a lot of the times they're not holding. They're going back to the bottom of the range. And this is important too, to always try to keep in mind of what patterns are working and which ones aren't. So in my eyes, I need to stop playing the VWAP fades and the VWAP bounces in this type of environment. Be looking more at the reversal style, but those are harder plays also. They take a little bit more of a quick risk to reward spot. And then all of a sudden you get those reversals. But of course, you got to keep it really tight because you could get stopped out multiple times on that support, trying to play it back towards the upside.
Beat doing a decent job curling here at the bottom. Oh, nope, now it's pulling back here. So it looked like it tried to make a move for the VWAP, but is being yanked here. One of the things that I'd like to see as far as beat trading, let me see if I can put this up here. One of the things I'd like to see in beat is this sideways trading right here. I'd love to see this taken out. So you can see what happened here is on this candle, when we pushed up, we took out this high. That sucked in some longs. We couldn't quite get to the VWAP. Now it's pulling back here. So it'll be interesting to see if we hold the bottom of this candle. I got 576 as the hold there. Watch beat. For the upside, I'd love to see 10 going to be my spot here to the upside. SNTI moving back through 6 here as well.
At least save myself some.
Love to see this get taken out. Sorry, Mitch.
No, it's just saying, save myself some cash on that LAC, right? If I would have kept into it down here, I would have got stopped out at 28 24 versus getting stopped out slightly above that. So giving me a little bit of an ability to at least minimize the loss, but very similar pattern. Look at the SPY. This is what we see often right now.
Kit halted, by the way. We had Kit a couple of days ago. KITT just saw this pop up on my halt scanner. Halted at 691. I wouldn't be shocked if this opened above 7.
At least something moving, right?
Say again?
At least something moving.
Yeah, a lot of these. So this is another reason why I like these small caps, right? Because these small caps are moving. Even when the market is pounding on lows here or reversing towards lows, we can still identify relative strength in some of these small caps and give us an opportunity.
And kind of what I've been seeing in the energy plays is a topping out there after a nice little push, and we'll see if we could get to that next leg. But XLM did get back above the 100. We'll see what happens now. Drip was the one that I was going to look at. Look how it did that reversal style pattern. This is exactly what I talk about for a reversal style pattern. That's a move like this where you're seeing it go down, then all of a sudden you get sideways levels. Once you get that third bottoming action around this third 1390s, which is right here on this candle, you're going to get a lot of times reversal signs where you get a little cut through and then a body that actually is a bullish engulfing look to then start getting that reversal style action. Well, there it is. That's the reversal that I'm talking about and different strategies that you guys can be playing.
Peggy looks like it's bouncing here. It'd be interesting to see if it can move through 4. Market's still on lows here. SNTI, new highs. Man, this has been strong. This would have been a play today. Just told you a second ago, loved this formation. Moved right through that high.
These pullbacks, man, they make the market so annoying at around this time. And what sucks is it usually starts getting better right when we're getting off. It's like, God dang it.
Yeah,
Now
I've noticed that too. There are a lot of there are a lot of plays here that really, they had a little move early when we were on, and then they kind of calmed down. And then later on, at some point in the afternoon, after we've been off, those have run. One of them was ATXI the other day. SNTI did the same thing. I try to call those before we sign off here, but can't hit them every day. And by the way, who was it that was asking me about floating islands? It was like a week or two ago. Someone asked me for an example of a floating island, and I couldn't find one on the spot. I do have one now. So if you're here, I will be happy to show you what it is that I'm looking at.
This is the bullish sign, right? Bank of England says that the pension funds were hours from disaster before we intervened. It's a bullish sign.
That sounds bad to me.
Oh, man. We got those bullish money managers out there, man. They're just trying to pump for the end of the year. I can't blame them, though, because they get judged on their performance, right? Let's just be honest. It's October 6th. December's coming. They're going to get judged in December how their trading year went. There's a reason why I think you're seeing the talking heads out there be bullish.
Trying to mark their stuff up for the last quarter here, huh?
Can you blame them?
Quick, no. So let me show you this floating island. KNBE has one and is breaking it. So for a potential swing, this would be a potential swing target. I'm not going to do that, not this week. I'm just going to stick to day trades this week, but let me just go over it real quick. Floating island is when the stock has some event that causes it to gap up above its previous price range. When it does that gap, it reverses at a high and comes back in and then reverses again. And so you can see what happened here is this went to a high of about, let's get the exact high, 2283. We pulled back for several days. We did pull below the bottom of that candle. The low of that candle was 2140. We pulled back to 2030 right here, but then we started to cross back up. And you'll notice that the floating island resolution is when you break the top of this first candle. That's exactly what we did. So in a perfect world, I would actually expect this to trade up to somewhere around 26 over the next 30 days. That's 4 points over the next 30 days. So this would be your floating island. One thing to note about floating islands is that this one, as you can see, this was a floating island. This island right here is still in this price range. So you can even get a more bullish setup if this was new highs, right? Like if this floating island pushed above the all-time high here, that would be great. That'd be even more bullish. But even so, with the setup that we have here, this is quite nice. I'd want to see a close above this for a swing long over several days.
I think we might have broken the uptrend.
Are you looking at your daily? You want to draw that trend on there?
I'll show you exactly what I mean, guys. So a lot of the times is my rule of three coming into play, right? That's the way I refer to it all the time, and I tell you guys about it. There's a reason why, because I've seen it happen countless times. So you get this first drive up towards the resistance. You get a second drive up. We got a third drive in this pre-market hours when we were getting that drive. So I was thinking, okay, could we hold support and then make that? Well, we just tried to do that right now on that fourth push. So if we could take out 372.23 on the downside, we could just break this pattern. So now it's just going to be a matter of, will it hold on to this low? 374.03. Where did we go to? We went to 373.78. So just keep your eyes on that 374 recovery here. Look how the stock and the SPY is battling right now and giving you that Harmy candle right at that area. Why? It wants to show signs of reversal there. Let's see what happens here. A move back to VWAP keeps the trend intact. A move below this candle, really breaking towards that 372. I'd be careful because it looks like the trend has broken. That's just my perspective. Roadblocks, dark matter, we can't catch them all, man. I did see you talking about earlier.
I did see it too.
Yeah, it's just we can't catch them all, man. I tried.
It was a good call though. You deserve credit for that. Absolutely.
You want to bring on a battle rap though? I'm all for. You let me know.
Mitch, you in a rap battle, I think that would be a sight to see. Maybe for Halloween, you should come up with something.
Rap city, rap city. Oh, I missed that show. That was a good one. We'll see. Look at that. Indecision, Harmy. The battle's on right now. This market, man. It's just loves to wash people out. Like they're just like, here, we're taking your money. What's up with Peloton? Did it drop also? Yeah, it dropped fast.
Why is Key holding in there? Pinterest, slow grind back down. This was upgraded today. Pinterest shares are trading higher after Goldman Sachs upgraded the stock from neutral to buy, raised the price target from 24 to 31.
They got sacked.
They got sacked.
One that I think is a good short that seems interesting was Wells Fargo calling out, stepping up to the plate on Silvergate Capital. So look at that one getting hit hard today. This one
SI.
looks like a big short to me here, and it's setting up for a nice move. And I think Wells Fargo has it right here. So that's just, normally I'll let you guys know how I feel about these analyst ratings where they're just fishing. I think they might have something here. Wells Fargo lowered its rating on Silvergate Capital to underweight from overweight and talked about crypto winter freezing our enthusiasm. We continue to believe these are the early days of a broader digital asset adoption, but the growth outlook in SI as a pure play crypto banking solution is significantly limited in the current environment. Couldn't have said it better myself. I would see these companies could disappear.
Real quick, Nando Real asking, why is Costco popping? So according to Benzinga Pro, again, link in the description for a free 2-week trial so you can be on top of all of this news too. Looks like they reported their September sales yesterday. Costco posts a 10.1% rise in September sales.
I got the headline for you.
Net September sales of 21.46 billion, up 10.1% year over year. Comparable sales up 8.5% year over year. So I didn't buy a coach; it's a couch, Aaron, and that was in October. So that would be in next month's numbers. But thank you. I believe me, folks. If I could take credit for a big cap like Costco popping and moving 2%, I would be doing victory laps. But that would be dishonest. And I'm not going to go down that route.
Like always, one thing I like to do is bring you guys a little bit extra, right? And so I'll bring you guys a little bit of extra here. And so this is coming from Wall Street Journal. You get some more mentions out there from Costco. You get their and I'll get you the exact reading right here. This came from the CFO talking about shipping and commodity prices have seen a steadily decline recently, but Costco isn't in a position yet to pass the savings on to its customer. Another thing to keep in mind, hourly employees, which account for 90% of Costco's workers, earn more than $25 an hour on average in the US. Man, Costco workers are making bank.
And the benefits, from what I hear, are excellent there. Real quick, I wanted to cover something here that Jay Rice just said. This is going to be process related. Let's take a look at a really good example here. Jay Rice says, I prefer buying downgrades than upgrades. You might ask yourself, well, why is that? And the first thing that I'll say is, in the market conditions that we're in right now, one of the things that you want to look for is for stocks to have bad news, but not get beat up on that bad news. What do I mean by that? Company reports bad earnings and doesn't really get sold into. Company has a bunch of downgrades and doesn't really move to the downside a whole lot. Generally speaking, that's a good sign, right? Probably going to move up. We have a real life example of this. Let me go ahead and ban the porn bot. We do have a real world example of this. If you take a look at Micron reported earnings. What day was this? Let me get you the exact date. Micron reported earnings Thursday, September 29th. Okay. On Friday, the earnings were not good. It was not a good print. So that's number one. The earnings the news flow on Friday, we had a whole bunch of analysts re-rate Micron. Some of them maintained its buy, but lowered its price target. There was a new buy recommendation. Mizuho maintained neutral. There was a downgrade in here. B of A maintains neutral. Where is it in here? There were a whole bunch of these. Maintains underweight. Piper Sandler maintaining underweight, lowering price target. So there was a whole bunch of re-ratings here. And if we take a look at the actual stock, it's not down from there. All right, here's September 29th. It was at $50. You can see the candle actually had a pretty decent range here. We're higher than that. We're 3 points, almost 3.5 points higher than that. We were even 4.5 points higher than that not long ago. So to what Jay is saying here, a lot of the times you can find out when a stock has made a near-term bottom simply by watching those things. And I like doing that as well. And Jay, if there's anything you'd like to add, I know I kind of took that in my own direction. If there's anything that you would like to add, please feel free to do so. I do not have the intention of speaking for you.
BTU trying to bottom out here on the bottom of the range, but man, it's just so hard to take these up to down range stocks. Just not my type of stocks to try to trade.
Tesla, another pull to the lows here.
Kathy, know my number. RKK. It just doesn't look like it's going to be a fun day after this kind of sideways action. And then even if it does make its move back up here, that's where it's hard for me to just get back into stocks, because at this point, I mean, it's a brand new range. When stocks pull back 100% of their move, technically wise, in technicals, that doesn't mean that it's kind of a pullback level to buy. Usually that means the trend is a brand new trend from that point. So if a stock makes a move to breaking out $1, but then pulls back that full dollar, that's a full 100% retracement. The trend is essentially no longer that same trend that you're seeing.
SNTI did break to a new high here. So it broke above that 638 point. Worth noting that it did that right afterwards and kind of pulled back. But this second move through, much stronger here. SNTI real strong today. No position in this one. No position in this one.
Yeah, silver doing well. I'm pretty sure that's going to be the DXY down. And it's actually up. That's interesting. First time I've seen silver up with a up dollar here. Gold isn't, my industry isn't up overall. Maybe some of your particular plays are doing well, but that's interesting. Silver having a decent day with the dollar up today. Looks like the dollar did find that support around the 110 area. I know there was someone that was yelling at me like, dollar doesn't find support? Forex doesn't trade on technicals? That's kind of what it trades on most of the time. At least I feel like. It's made a big bounce up there towards 111.87, the DXY.
And Jay, giving you some more context there. Pretty simple. Analysts follow the price. Remember all those price target raises last year on Amazon, Microsoft, Google? Amazon, I think, was 4K. Now you look at the price now and you're like, it's 120. That's crazy. It was before the split.
Bro, they just got it really wrong, not bad.
Jay, this is a really good point. Jay's giving you his strategy before it happens too. Absolutely love that. Just absolutely.
Yeah, that's why what I look for when I see analyst reports is what I tried to give you guys there for the SI is the actual note. The note is worth more than the rating. That's what I would say. If you can read into the note, you can get into why they're doing this, right? They're going to give you a reasoning. Is it going to be right? Can it just be made up? Yes, it can be. But one thing that I would say is they give you a reasoning, right? Try to see what the reasoning was. And then you can make a decision if they got it right or wrong.
JJ asking Ryan, where will tops bounce? JJ, your guess is as good as mine, man. These Greek shippers, as we outlined yesterday when we were talking about them, these Greek shippers here, they can do whatever they want. We've seen Mitch gave you a story about how he called it going 1,300% overnight. So maybe he has a better idea of the levels here. Just looking at the chart, and again, don't take this stuff as gospel. Just looking at the chart, I expect another bounce here right around 7. I've got 692 marked out, but 692 to 7. I think it could probably bounce there. Does look like we're into a support area, but just be very, very, very careful with this. This is not a stock that operates in the realm of reality. Let's just put it that way. Probably mine saying I would not touch tops. There were a number of chatters yesterday saying exactly that they would not touch it. Not something that I would go after here. Really don't like these.
You know, it's one I like that actually does trade well, and I think is more of a trade here. It's SBLK, Starbow Carrier. Look at this one. This one has a tendency of trading better than I think tops. And so why? Because there's an actual price pattern that I see here consistently. So I think if you're looking to trade one of them, this is not a bad one to keep on watch. Of course, you want to see tops continuing. And another thing to kind of state is this is one of the higher cap ones, right? And so I like trading the higher cap shippers. SBLK, not a bad one to trade. Starboak, Carriers, in my eyes, I feel like they actually hold patterns.
And real quick, just to answer a question here. Awesome show, guys. The Crow, we really appreciate that. Thanks for your support. Glad that you're enjoying it. Do we stay on all day? No, we do not yet. Our show is from 9 to 11, Monday through Thursday. Occasionally, we fill in gaps on Friday as well. Mitch, I'm just kind of spitballing here, but for us to move to an all-day show, we would probably need to see what? Average 1,000 likes a day. So I think we're a ways away from that. That would be really sweet. We would need a bunch of help from the community there, but that would be really sweet. But to answer your question, no, 9 to 11 before the market opens at 9:30. From 9 to 9:30, we review some of the stocks that we're watching. We'll talk about some of the macro news that's affecting the market, as well as catalysts moving some of those stocks around. We often ask for input from our chat. We had great calls here from our chat pretty much all week. Today, there were a bunch as well, though. So check it out. We hope to see you back.
SPY, what is it doing, guys? Well, fighting those lows that we talked about, the 374 level. Look how we've been just stationary there. What is it doing? Setting up a reversal pattern. We've talked about this. This is what we've been seeing in the market countless times. But this could also break down that reversal pattern. That's why I don't like taking reversal patterns, because when you get a breakdown of them, they usually break down really quickly here. And look how it's been fighting this 374. Now we're trying to break down again. There it goes through. Would you been able to hold on that move? I probably would have got stopped out.
SNTI still poking those highs. And real quickly, CSCW. Remember, like we were saying earlier, we're going to see what the stock is made of, and it's not made of a bounce today. So another graphical example of why when you have profit in some of these names, don't be afraid to take it. If it moves higher, you can always wait for it to set up again, but you really don't want to be caught in a pullback like this.
All right, I'm going to try to scalp here. I don't do this often, guys, but drip would be the scalp here. So let's see if I can get a pullback to 1430s right quick, and then I'll take the scalp try. Starting to see
More
the
pulls
oil
to the
names
low here on SPY.
breaking. Need a little pullback there. I don't think I'm going to get the pullback. I'd have to jump in here on the high, and I hate doing that. It's just against the rules. Like, I try my best not to scalp anymore, guys. I used to do that when I first started trading, and I just learned that, I mean, even though you're seeing the momentum, Mitch, scalping to me isn't, at least for me, isn't a successful long-term strategy.
Yeah, I mean, scalping is a bunch of little gains, right? So one of the things that you run into when you're scalping, and this is something that I'm battling right now, one of the things that you're running into scalping is you have a bunch of these little gains that you've stacked on top of each other, and then you have one bad trade that wipes out all of those gains, and that kind of leads to the consistency over the long term that you're talking about, Mitch. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why I really enjoy swing trading, right? You can really kind of build larger profits, give yourself more of a margin for error, if you will. But you can't force trades in environments when it's not conducive. And the swing shorts that I've done, I've had some success, but my success rate is much lower. By the way, I determined that from keeping a journal, which I recommend that you folks do. And so I just kind of hit what's working, and what works for me are trades to the long side. So no matter what the market environment is, that's what I end up looking for. To each his own. And
I'll try it here. I'm taking the drip. I'm taking the drip there. 1438 entry. It did get a little bit of a pullback, trying to get towards the 32 to 30s. I was looking like I was literally ready to buy 30, ready to buy 30. It wasn't going to it. Started spiking up, got into it. But this is what happens to me often when I buy that high. Look how the bid and the offer just dropped down. Now it's towards that 30 pricing, right? Do I add at 1430? Can't do it now. Got to wait. And so clear example of why I usually don't like getting in near the high. It just never makes sense for me. Just trying to get a little bit of a scalp here, but hey, I usually know this one doesn't usually work out for me. Usually it's that 1430 buy that works out for me on the pullback, which is a better offer because then you can risk off the bottom of the pattern versus risking off the middle of the pattern. That's where I feel like you get caught being a pig. Small risk. I mean, yeah, but then why take the trade, right? I mean, if you're trying to make money, right? You're trying to get that expansion. That's what I noticed from scalps that are a little bit hard to do because of that. That one downturn can really just wipe out months of work. XOM, we'll see what happens there. Up towards some of these oil stocks there. Kit opened up, just if you want to take a look at that. That's at VWAP now. Interesting pullback here. Not a bad outlook there for Kit, but I try to stay away from those type of stocks, guys, but not a bad outlook there for Kit on the VWAP now.
Looking at the news from Twitter, don't see much going on here.
Will XOM do the flag? Or will it break down? Let's see. I'm probably going to get stopped out of drip.
Mitch, can you handle it for a sec? I got to run to the washroom.
Yeah, go for it, my friend. It's going to be a stat, probably. Just not feeling the edge right now, guys. Not feeling in the zone. Yesterday was a little bit better. You know, we were trying to play a little bit of the oil game. We had some catalyst out there. But, man, these markets, team, they're just so trappy. And then you get caught into these, like, pullbacks in the SPY. I just talked about it. Now we're down towards 373. Wouldn't you know it, team? We're going right back down to the low end of the range. The trap is on. It's a trap. It's a trap. Easy. I mean, we've been talking about coal for a long time, you know? At the end of the day, the coal trade has been one of the best trades. Let's just be honest. And coal's going to continue burning.
All right.
SPY is ugly. Oil just kind of going sideways here. Definitely the 1430s was a better buy. But that's just the way it goes. If it could start breaking, the reason I was taking it was more this VWAP rejection here from Oxy. So I started seeing it come back down and Oxy getting a little bit weak there. We'll see if it can hold the support. Is Drip trying to make that push? Up one, down one, up two, down two, up three, hold support. Now should take it out, and it shouldn't break 1424. Of course, if the SPY reverses, that can all turn around. So it just seems like this market, it just gets to these points right now. We're literally, if I was trading on my own, guys, I'd be out of here. I would have been gone probably 30 minutes ago.
Yeah, and Mitch, to that point, my scanner has dried up quite a bit too. So not only are we seeing the indices and the broader market not cooperate, but scanner here not really showing me a bunch of new plays at all. And I'm in the same boat. If I were alone, just don't force it. There's just no reason to force trades when they're not there. Wait for the setups to come to you. That's something we've been saying from the very beginning of this show.
Rustam, I didn't get the chance to talk about Ryan when he was gone. I could do it now. I always like trading with Ryan. One of the things that I feel that Ryan and I have in common is that we've been working at this trading game for a very long time.
Yep.
It's not like it's just been 1 year. I think that's another thing that helps is when you actually get around traders that have been at this for especially longer than a year or two. Once you start getting through that third year, that fourth year, you start having a different outlook on the market. A lot of times it's going to be most traders, they get more risk adverse. That's what's happened to me throughout the years of trading. But that's just why? Because you feel that there's always opportunities. There's always new opportunities in the market. You only really learn that by experience, I think. There's one thing us telling you it. There's a whole nother thing you seeing it. And so one thing that I've always seen is that, one opportunity isn't going to make or break me. And that's one thing that I learned really quickly through kind of trading big sizing is that I don't want one trade ever to make my day or make my career or break my career. And so with that being said, I try to control the risk and return. And trading with Ryan, I can also see that he even takes some bigger shots sometimes than even I do. But one thing that he always keeps in mind is the risk. And he definitely cuts faster than I would on a lot of those situations. So it's always fun to trade with a colleague, and especially someone that has been at this market for more than a year.
Yeah, and I'd like to add to that, my entire strategy is built off talking to other traders that have more experience than me. I realized when I first started here, I not started here, but started with trading. When I first started, I traded for gains. I traded for P&L. And I would trade anything that's moving, reverse splits, halted stocks, earnings, but I wasn't consistent. And as you go through this game, you start to realize, as Mitch just said, there's always going to be opportunities. So if you can somehow turn yourself into a consistent trader, you can really start booking those profits. And that's exactly right. So when Mitch says most traders become more risk adverse, yeah, I don't trade nearly as much as I used to. But I feel like I have a more sound approach, and I've honed that sound approach from learning from people that have more experience and that were willing to help me. We talked earlier today about Cscw, and that was the entire volume expansion strategy that I'm running here. I'm using Benzinga Pro to help me find plays, but I'm running a strategy that I've practiced for a number of years that I learned from one of my mentors. And like I said, some of you probably know him. It's Sandman. He's done webinars with us. If you check out our help site, you'll be able to watch some of those. He explains the volume expansion strategy. He explains how we incorporate Squawk into that and how he takes a bunch of these different trades. And I watched that for a long time, practiced it both in paper and in real money, and then deployed it. And that's where I'm at now. I wouldn't be here without the help of others, without standing on the shoulders that others have learned mistakes. And that's one of the reasons that Mitch and I try to pay that forward. Just to kind of go back to one of the discussions we had yesterday.
Stopped out there, team. The SPY starting to come back. Oil starting to come back. So oil looking good here, and got caught, right? It should have been more of a 5-cent stop out than a 10-cent stop out. And a lot of that is what? Well, not understanding and respecting the way that I play things, trying to get in there on the high, literally talked about it as we did it. And you guys can learn from my mistakes today. That's what it's all about sometimes.
Gary saying it's taken me over 3 years full-time trading to get to the point of consistent profits. Gary, that's almost exactly what it took me. I think it was probably 2 years before I was profitable with any type of consistency. And I'm talking about the beginning. That's just how it goes. I know some traders that are really good at this right out of the gate. They develop a big bankroll early, and they are able to kind of figure out their risk in a less stressful environment. It doesn't happen for everybody. So just gotta keep at it. If you care about this process, if you care about valuing companies, if you care about markets and dynamics like that, you'll be able to find a way to make money. I'm confident in you.
Oil ripping, UNG ripping. You guys know I took the swing trade on this one. Entry was 24.19, now up there towards 24.50. Really getting that breakout there. It looks like finally natural gas is getting that lift today. So Boyle is one that I like right now. That just took off there from about 57.25 to 58.50. Look for a little bit of pullback action to try to get into that party. But it looks like the natural gas is getting some lift. Another one you can look at is LNG, right? See if that one can start getting some lift here. We'll see what happens there. If it can get that push back through 172. But UNG, Boyle, I like those plays. They are starting to get a little bit of a spike. Got the swing trade on that one. And going to be done for the day trading on the day. SPY looks like it's coming back there. And wouldn't you know it, it stops some people out on the upside, stops some people out on the downside, and starts reversing.
Maybe we roll over again and stop some more people out on the
It's
upside.
just the chop fest. And at least, though, this does leave room still for the upside because it held this candle low. And now it's starting to make it up in the hourly. You still got a wick there, but you're not going to get probably a close below that. If it does come back down, well, then you'll see it. This is an hourly candle that goes until 11. And so you still got a little bit of time, but keep on watch that level because it's going to be vital to it if it wants to hang on.
And real quick, Bourne says, Ryan, you moving to Florida or just to a new place that has a solid AC? Well, I replaced my AC unit, so mine is about as solid as it gets right now. I do love Florida, but it's a place for me to visit. I couldn't live in a place that doesn't have seasons. Florida's way too hot for me. I want my mountains, man. You can have your water. Give me my mountains. Give me some of that fresh, dry air. That's what I want.
Yeah, Rustin, we'll definitely always try to answer questions, even if it feels a little bit uncomfortable or you guys feel that, just bring the questions. We have no fear.
Yep.
We're going to try to do our best to just give you what we see and be transparent. That's one thing that I always try to do. And I know that Ryan tries to do the same.
Absolutely.
That's all we can do for you guys. And then from there, it's going to be up to you guys to determine how you trade, what kind of decisions you make. We can't do that for you. But one thing we can do is try to show how we try to approach the markets and what we've learned in years of trading that hopefully will make you have all those skills under your belt in 1 year. There's no guarantee, but if you can learn from experience and you can try to bend that learning curve, as you hear mentioned often, that's what we're here for.
The biggest opponent that you are going to face in this career is yourself. And so there's only so much that other people can do for you. Inevitably, it's going to be you that needs to take the step towards profitability.
UNG storage numbers. Appreciate it, Ram. Those came out. Thank you. There's always something that I'm going to miss too. Sometimes you guys stay up with other kind of areas better than I do, right? I look at the overall market, all areas. You guys can always hone in on a certain area. We've talked about that, how that helps often. When you really know an industry, it truly helps.
Yeah, I'm not really seeing much of anything here in terms of new plays. James, no, there are no mountains in Chicago. That's part of the problem. That's driving one of my impetus to leave. One of the reasons I want to leave. There are no mountains in Chicago. But I absolutely love and have a ton of respect that you just called it the Sears Tower, because anyone from Chicago knows that it is and will always be the Sears Tower. So much appreciated.
Yeah, I've been to the Sears Tower, Ryan.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
Yeah, I had to visit the Sears Tower, And yes, I agree with you. Always call it the Sears Tower. You call it anything else.
Yeah.
I mean,
Come on now.
Did they pay for that name? Is that what it was? It's
The
like a
Willis
license.
Tower, the new one? The new
No,
name?
did like Sears just like pay for that? Was it Sears, like the company Sears that just paid for
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
And then you just like a certain license that it runs out or something?
Yeah, it's originally
I
I
don't
don't know the
understand that.
history of how they actually got the name. Let me see if there's something I can look up real quick. Okay. So here you go. So this pretty much answers your question. Sears and Roebuck had occupied an office complex on Chicago's west side since 1906. The existing offices were inadequate by 1966, prompting Sears executives to look for a new site. By 1969, Sears was the largest retailer in the world with about 350,000 employees. Sears executives quickly determined the new headquarter complex in the suburbs was infeasible since it would require relocating about 7,000 employees. Instead, Sears executives decided to consolidate the thousands of employees and offices distributed throughout the Chicago area in one building on the western edge of Chicago's Loop. So there you go.
Boom, boom. All right, looks like we are still getting that move there. LNG did make a little bit of a spike. Talked about that when it was around the 172. It's already up to 172.74. We'll see if it gets back towards the 174. UNG, we'll see how it closes on the day. I've talked about this. This is the swing trade, right? Been watching this one for a while. The 200-day moving average right below it at the 363. So we're going to look to swing this. Let's see what happens. SPY coming back
400% this year. Oh, that's funny.
So now I could go for an LAC move, for a reversal style move off the bottom to try to make my money back. But if he strikes 3 here, and I've already taken about 3 trades deep into the red with that first loss and then the drips scalp. And so I'm not going to take it here. I'm just going to call it a day and just try to take things easy this week, not seeing things that clearly. And so when you don't see things that clearly, what do? Instead of trying to jump on the gas pedal when things aren't working, I'll go to the brake pedal when things aren't working. And what that will do to me will just limit the downside risk. And so I do see that this is kind of more that reversal style, right back up with the SPY doing that kind of move. But I'm not going to go ahead and take it. We'll see what happens.
PACB busting through its double top here real quick. This is about the best that I see right now. Just took it out briefly here. Looks like it might push through 7. Possible opportunity there. Looking at this, at the daily chart here, pretty decent, especially if you can clear out 714. So maybe there is a run here in PACB, PACB. Decent move here and taking this out. Looks like it's really kind of bouncing off the VWAP. Wonder if it stalls here and trades back down to VWAP. Stay disciplined. One of the things that I'm looking for here, I can't necessarily speak to when we reverse from a bear to a bull market. There are a lot of factors in there. But as far as one of the things that we're looking for trading are when we said this earlier, when good companies end up reporting bad news but really don't get beat up. I would also expect that when things start to smooth out, you might see the IWM lead, as the small caps have been in a bear market for longer than some of those larger caps. Stratego tactics and tips. How many day trades on average do you guys make a day? It depends on the market. It depends on what's going on. Recently, I would say that our average number has been down. I made 2 today, 1 loser, 1 winner. Yesterday, I think I only made 1 trade, and it was a small winner. Some days here we're 6, 7, 8. Zunaid, when he's around, especially because he trades more options than actual stock, he'll sometimes have a couple of different trades on the same ticker if it sets up correctly. So no way to actually say that. I would say that one of the things that we do is we wait for the setups to come to us as opposed to going after. We know what we're looking for, but we'll wait for the trade setups to come to us. one of the things that we don't want to do here is we don't want to just be shouting anything that we can as a potential setup, because I don't want people that are newer to be trapped or to not understand or to misunderstand, take a trade and have that go against them. So we're trying to focus on process. Sometimes process allows for a lot of trades. On other times, it allows for just a few trades. SPY trying to bounce here. See how high this bounce can go.
UUP. All right. UUP, the bullish dollar fund. All right, let's take a look here. Rounding top on UUP. Are rounding top significant? They give you levels of resistance. And I actually been talking about rounding tops. You know what, Quantum? I'll actually pull my book out. I'll get you the true definition
it's just
for rounding
pulling the
tops.
book out.
I got
Lesson
you guys.
time.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. If there's anything kind of big, making big moves, maybe just go over some of the biggest movers on the day, so that if anyone's out there looking for them, you can use Benzinga.
Well, let's start with one of the biggest movers on the day was Tesla, right? Tesla to the downside here. We were, pretty flat, I would say. I guess we're down a little bit, but we're pretty flat in the pre-market. Had a nice little run out of the open and then a really big pullback. Now it's trying to curl here. It's already made one attempt to move back to the VWAP. Looks like it's trying again here, but we'll see if it stalls. It's only down 1.3% here, but intraday, this was a fairly big move and it happened rather quickly. We had a lot of reversals that looked like this, right? So it wasn't just in Tesla, but I would say, what happened here? Did I just click the wrong thing? Apple did something very, very similar, right? Flattish, maybe down a little bit in the pre-market, rip out of the gate, big pullback, 2-point pullback there. So those are going to be some of the biggest movers. Now, as far as the biggest movers that are up from the day, it's going to be some of these penny stocks. And we talked about that earlier when I was going through my prep list here. So CCNC, this is a 30-cent stock. This is up 100% here today. I don't trade these. I'm not very successful with them. If you're looking for the biggest movers of the day, one of the tools that you should absolutely try out in Benzinga Pro is Movers. It's extremely easy to use, and it is able to provide some of that information. I'm sorry, folks. Some of the information about biggest movers, both to the downside and the upside, with very little input. This is one of the things that I use all of the time. We talked about MOTS. Someone in our chat mentioned AMV. This is Altis Motor Vehicles. This pretty thin, if I'm not mistaken, right? We actually don't even have float numbers for it. Average volume 238. Today we've done almost 2 million shares already. Pretty big mover here. MOTS, GGE, how did that end up doing? That was just the move is in the pre-market. See how I said earlier we're waiting for volume. We really just kind of broke down here. Be interesting to see if we can cross through 105. Maybe we get a move there. Peggy, doing 37 million shares here today. 37 million shares here today versus an average of 2.8. That's one of your pretty big movers. Stab 58 million versus an average of 600K. Wow. SNTI, ATXG. So here are your list of movers here. These are some of the bigger ones that we've seen here today. And I did notice some of the Alzheimer plays were getting movement. Someone in here is talking off Sava. Yeah, William, you're trading Sava here. Good bounce off the VWAP there. Halt up on AMV. Thank you, Gary. I went through it too quickly.
All right, now one I even remember that is kind of a rounding top. I'll go to it, which is T-Mobile, but I'll kind of leave that up there, and let me talk about some of the things that come with rounding tops. So rounding tops, and you can also call them rounding bottoms, right? There's a top side, there's the bottom side. Sometimes they're called saucers, bowls, or cups. So if you're going to hear different names, sometimes you're going to hear that being mentioned, right? So rounding tops and bottoms are formed by price action that reverses slowly and gradually, rather than different from the spike with definite sharp reversal characteristics. Volumes in the bottom seem to follow the same trend of lessening as price gradually approaches the bottom, and increasingly as they gradually turned upwards again. So you want to see lowering volume while it's creating that rounding top or rounding bottom. And you want to see the volume increase when it gets out of the pattern, going in the reversal style action. Now, another thing to keep in mind, right, that rounding bottoms are actually more common than rounding tops. But if you actually take a look at it, these are actually interesting. They're actually ranked as the 13th out of the 23 top patterns to use. And a lot of this is going to be that they tend to work at a longer term pattern. They're more easily identified in the weekly or even monthly charts. They are reversal patterns, but they can also appear in long price consolidations. Short-term round formations, often called scallops, are usually a continuation pattern that are equally difficult to define. The rounding bottom ranks 5 out of 23 in performance and have a low 5% failure rate. So when you see these, one of the things that I would say is you have to understand that they're going to take a little while to develop. I wouldn't necessarily be looking at these more in an intraday. Like they said, they tend to be longer term patterns. So if they're looking at easily identifiable ones on the weekly and monthly charts, that should give you a little bit of a symbol of why you want to be using these too often in a smaller time frame. Boom, some lesson of the day.
I love it. We feel like we had a lot of lessons here. Looking ahead here, SNTI, possible move through 7. Setting up here. We'll see if we get it. Mitch, I do have to jump and get to some.
We got to jump too. We're all going to get out of here.
We're all going to jump. All right. Well, great week here. Mitch, do you have any inclination if we're going to have any time to be on tomorrow? I think I've got some stuff in the morning. So
no, we don't. With the meeting and also the quarterly meeting tomorrow, we will not be getting on. There will be a small all access after pre-market prep, but tomorrow will be a day where we don't have that much content. I will let you guys know ahead of time. We're just probably going to be having pre-market prep, a little bit of all access, and then getting into at the close. I won't even be doing stock market movers tomorrow. So the big reason is that we got our Q4 meeting. So we need to make sure that we're ready to go for that. We're going to be focusing on what we're going to bring to you next quarter, team. Right. So like always, hit the thumbs on up, hit the subscribe button down below, and we're going to start wrapping up. I'll get Ryan on out of here. I'll quickly do a little wrap up, and then we'll get on out of the day. The SPY is battling today. Maybe we get an inside candle. Maybe we just get sideways action. But what do we see? The market's coming back. And that's what we've been seeing often, where we get this kind of downward period and all of a sudden reversal back up. We'll see what's going on out there. Energy still leading the way on the upside. So that's just something to keep in mind. Oil staying strong. Technology getting a little bit of a bounce today. So keep your eyes on some of those tech names. Right now, getting back into the green. You got Apple back into the green, Microsoft back into the green, and look at Nvda up about 1.74. Look to see if the laggard like AMD is starting to finally bounce back. I know AMD wasn't as strong as some of the other ones, but now it's looking a hell of a lot better as it gets through that 68.70. So holding the VWAP maybe on a pullback, 68.90s, making a move to 70 doesn't seem too bad. We'll see what happens in AMD. We'll be wrapping on up here. Like always, we're going to keep battling here on Benzinga to get you guys all the information and, of course, the trading action that you guys want to see. Let us know. Do you want to see more or less of live trading? And what do you want to see on there? We'll definitely keep trying to push the levels. Hit the comments after the show if you guys have any feedback for us, and we'll keep trying to take it to the next level right here on live trading. Up next, you guys will have Benzinga Live. Benzinga Live will be starting up at 11:30. So definitely stick around, guys. We'll see what happens out there. I'll maybe try to stick around for another couple of minutes here, but going to quickly wrap on up here as I'm seeing the market just start making its comeback. I'm not going to take another trade, but definitely things are bouncing. It looks like my camera focus is horrible today. I don't know why, but hey, there he goes. Now it's catching me. We'll see what else is out there. Buddy and Hendricks, always the life. Hendricks has actually not been wanting to come on camera a little bit more. He's been wanting to hang out in the living room, but it is what it is. Love when you guys are live. Appreciate you, Angie. Appreciate you, Quantums and Bullish. Everybody that's joined us today. James, James, that's what we want to see. Ron Willis in the chat. I haven't seen you in a little bit. Took a call on AMD, he's talking about. Not a bad little profit on the day. Made that daily goal. And, you know, when you hit those goals, you got to yell goal like a soccer player sometimes. So you get your nice day, Ron. Go get a nice lunch. Definitely enjoy everybody that was a part of the stream today. Paul, Ram, Hertz, Easy, Jay, Sydney, all you guys out there that keep battling with us right here to build the community. That's truly what it's all about here at Benzinga, and the reason why we keep battling along with you guys. We're going to keep going. We'll see you guys a little bit later today. I got stock market movers at 1 p.m. 11:30, we'll have, of course, AB starting up with Benzinga Live. Let me make sure that that is set on up to bring you guys over to Benzinga Live. And no, it wasn't set up, so just save the day there. A nice little save there for Benzinga Live. I'll get you guys on over. Remember, that will be starting up at 11:30, so you got a little bit of a break till then. But stick around. We got a great day of content for you right here on Benzinga.